Welcome, everyone. We are live. It is Wednesday. Indeed, it is. It's double shift day. So I'm not going to keep you long. But you see, there's a very popular Neville Goddard quote. It says, because I'll tell you what law it is, too. See, because Neville Goddard knew the law. Yes, he did. Realize you yourself are the power. You must be willing to give up your present limitations. Simply dare to assume that you are what you want to be. That's the quote. It is the principle of, well, you could say correspondence, as within, so without. Or you can say cause and effect. He's telling you that you yourself are the power. You are the power. You see that part? But we don't believe that of ourselves, do we? I say to you, you are the operant power. And we say, what do you mean? What power do I have? If I had power, I wouldn't feel so powerless. Because the definition of power has been tainted. True power has nothing to do with the controlling of another. True power, though, has everything to do with the realization that it is you who makes the change. You. And that's what makes you powerful. Remember, you must be willing to give up your present limitations. Oh boy, that's a tough cookie, isn't it? We fight for our limitations every day. Oh, how do I know? Shoot. I'm as good as they are. Oh, I don't have a story. My life wasn't really that difficult. Why would anybody take me seriously? Those are some of the things that roll through my head. Oh, yes. Our limitations. Oh, but I've got ADD. I've got ADHD. Oh my God, I'm bipolar. Oh my God, I am this. Oh my God, I am that. Oh yeah, we defend our limitations. Yes, and we defend them vehemently. Oh, we do. We fight to hold on to our limitations because we are unaware that we can change ourselves. Oh, yeah. That's exactly what we're doing. When we say to ourselves, yeah, but, yeah, I know, but I've been doing that and nothing is changing. These are the kinds of things we say to ourselves, justifying our limitations. And if I say to you, well, you must be willing to give up your present limitations. Some people say to me, that's easier said than done. So the question now becomes, what do you want to be in this life? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Well, I would like to, but I can't. I would like to, but I have tried. You see, we think it's okay to live like that. But if I say that I dare to assume that I'm the man or the woman I want to be, oh, what do I hear? Oh, she's got audacity. Oh, she's bold. Oh, look at her. She's so arrogant. Who does she think she is? And it's not even that strangers or people close to you say those things. It is you who says those things to yourself. What's the difference? To recognize that you are the power. What's the difference between that and, well, I'm not good enough? They're just perspectives. You see, we like to compare ourselves to other people so much that we lose the essence of who and what we are. Well, I can't do it like them. Oh, but they're so much better than me. Oh, they have so much more than me. You are so busy saying that. And remember, a controlled imagination, right? And fixed attention repeatedly. Every time you do that side of things, you solidify who you say you are. And if I say to you, assume, you know what people say to me? Oh, you know what they say, oh, assuming. You make an ass out of you, you make an ass out of me. Yeah, that's not what is meant by assumption. That is not what it means in this context. To assume that you are the man or the woman you want to be. It means when you look in the mirror, you say, I know what I can see because I'm looking at what I'm seeing. But I know that I can change. How do you know that you can change? How do you know that you can change? Is it because I keep telling it to you every day? Mhm. It is through your experiences. Which one of us has fallen and scratched ourselves up on the pavement, our knees, and that blood clots within minutes? The bleeding stops. Right there and then we've changed. Our whole body chemistry changes to fix that broken skin. We change all day, every day. You understand? Today, we don't fight to hold on to our limitations because we understand what it means. You don't have to fight to let go of the limitation. Not at all. We know we don't need force. It is not by might, it is not by power, but it is by spirit. What does that mean? Realize you yourself are the power. You have to have an attitude. When I tell you, realize that you yourself are the power, you have to have an attitude that says, yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am that power. What power are you going to exercise? A controlled imagination and fixed attention is what power you will exercise. And when you exercise that power, do you know what you're doing? You're giving up your present limitations of yourself. Well, you would have to. Scripture says one cannot serve two masters. You can't be out here in these streets talking about, I'm not good enough, and still saying, I am that. I am one or the other, but you must choose. Simply dare to assume that you are what you want to be. You see, don't get it twisted that you're hoping to become this thing. You're not hoping, you're not wishing, you are exercising the principles. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. So there's no need for you to hope that you can change. There's no need to wish. There's no need to beg for change. You're the power of change. Yeah, you are the power of the change. And so long as you know that what you plant, you will reap. You don't know that? You don't know that what you plant, you'll reap? Listen, it snowed. I haven't even finished picking all of the apples. I have so many apples, I don't know what to do. I gave some away, and they're there. I'm slightly overwhelmed by the amount of apples that I have. Slightly. I made another batch of apple butter. I made apple tarts with the phyllo pastry. Now I made apple juice, and now I'm gonna make apple jelly. Why did I tell you that? Because an apple tree was planted, so I'm never gonna pick oranges from that tree. So when you say change initiated, when you say the change that you want to have in your life has been initiated, you need to know that as within, so without. As you have sown, so shall you reap. So if your mental attitude is one of, I am that, I am, what are you? What is that? What is that thing that you are saying that you have become, or that you are in the process of becoming? What is that? Well, so long as you have a controlled imagination and fixed attention on the desired outcome, then it is the only fruit that you can bear. Your change is inevitable. You don't have to wish. You don't even have to ask, how long is it going to take? You don't have to ask that question. You don't have to ask, are we there yet? Are we there yet? You don't have to ask that. Because you will know that every vision has its appointed hour. It will ripen, it will flower. If it be long, wait. It will not be late. It's simply telling you that the image you hold of yourself, so long as you remain faithful to holding that vision of yourself, you will become it. It doesn't mean that you sit on the couch and you hope that you'll change. It means once you make the choice of what you want to become, all your actions appear to be preordained. They appear to be destiny. How could they appear that way? Because every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. So you will know what action to take at all times. You'll know. You do not have to consult anybody in a cave to figure it out. Once you choose who you want to become, there are behaviors that go along with that, and you will start to do them. And it's very interesting that we think the principles are just hocus pocus. Oh, I'll use the principles to get me a man. I'll use the principles to get me a car. I'll use the principles to get me a job. The way you use the principles will determine your type of life. The way you use the principles will determine your type of life experience, my friends. I was watching this series, and they're talking about talismans. Now, talismans are objects that are allegedly imbued with power. It reminds me of the Oracle from The Matrix. And she goes, what do all men with power want? More power. You see, we allow ourselves to become bewitched by quote-unquote external power. We allow ourselves to become bewitched by it, thinking that it is this object, and without this object, we are nothing. But in actuality, it is you who powers the object. You tell it what to do. And if I say to you, speak to your body and tell it what to do, yeah, you say to me, that's not possible. But you speak to your body every single day, do you not? When you say, oh, I gotta get up, what do? Get up. You think that you walk because you just can? No, the message, the directive to walk, as long as the pathway exists, you walk. But like I say, I marvel at the people who healed themselves to an extent that they can get out of their wheelchairs and they can walk. You think they don't have moments of hopelessness? Of course they do. You think they don't want to give up? Of course they do. But they simply dare to assume that they are what they want to be. And when you do that, it's not magic. They're now firing a whole new set of neurons in their brains over and over and over again. This is why for the people who are in physio, that's what they're doing. Every time they get up and they fall down, they're solidifying that new pathway through practice. So every assumption that you make of yourself is setting down a neurological pathway in your brain. So that when you say, I am that, well, then you'll see the matching behavior that corresponds with who you say you are. So will you dare to assume that you're the man or the woman you want to be? Or will you say to yourself, well, I don't want people to think that I'm delusional. I don't want people to think I'm insane. And therein lies the problem, the fear of judgment. Girl, what use is the fear of judgment when you can change your life? Who gives a rat's patootie what anybody thinks as long as you change your life? People are always going to talk because they've got mouths. But it is you who dares to assume that you are the man or the woman you want to be. You know, and there's some people who will say to me, but Angela, I want to be a pilot. I just can't go fly a plane. Because that's what some people will tell you. Yeah, well, I want to be that. But that's not what they really want to be. They're just saying that to you because they're like, that's what people do. Oh, yeah, well, I want to be this. That doesn't mean I'm going to get to do it. That's far-fetched. That's just a pipe dream. Or some people say, well, I can play the devil's advocate. Stop embroiling the devil in controversy. Be your own advocate. The devil needs no advocate. It is you who are the power. So whatever that situation is today that you are dealing with, remember, situations do not matter. Why don't situations matter? A situation does not matter because I'm trying to be cruel and cold and insensitive. Situations don't matter because they are polarity. And if you want to change, you have to polarize yourself in a different direction. Period. That's what you do. Why? Why would you polarize yourself in a different direction? Because the direction that you turn in will unfold and express itself. That's what it will do. Ponder that. Realize you yourself are the power. You must be willing to give up your present limitations. Simply dare to assume that you are what you want to be. You have to take a different attitude. And I keep telling you, it's not magic. It is not, ooh. It is nothing of that sort. It is simply principle. It is simply law. After all, what do you think is being used upon humanity? The same law. The law that tells you every time you pick up your phone and look at it and put it down, you have to pick it up and put it down again. Pick it up and put it down. And what is a habit? Anything that you do the same way every time. So the act of picking it up, looking at it and putting it down, now becomes a habit. And look at what happens with that habit. You begin to scroll different things that, tickle your fancy. And you scroll, and you scroll, and you scroll, and you scroll some more. Until such time you hear yourself say, oh my God, I gotta take a social media break. And we begin to beat ourselves up. We begin to get depressed and sad. Oh my God, I can't stop scrolling. So if you know that you're going to pick it up and put it down, you see, we try brute force and brute force does not work. You have to learn to use the tools in the way that benefits you. If you're going to go online, let it be what you are looking for. Instead of just going there without a purpose, without an objective. Because you're still going to be influenced by going there. Funny thing, that word, influence. Oh, influencer. The internet is peppered with influencers. What is an influencer? Someone who influences you to do something. Yes, they go for your mind every single time. Well, where do you think influence happens? And the only place it can happen, in your mind, your consciousness, your awareness. This is where the influence happens. So the key here is to influence yourself. And how do you do that? By realizing you yourself are the power. That's what it means. That's all it means. So now you're learning the art of mental transmutation. Instead of allowing your, imagine if you will, every time you look at your screen, there's I want to say a vapor, a mist that flows from you. It's a mist, a vapor that flows from you every time you participate in looking at the screen. But here's how to change that. If you decide what you will look at, you now draw from, as opposed to being drawn from. You power the self instead of allowing yourself to be used to power something. But you have to have the audacity, the boldness, the attitude that says, I am the power. It reminded me, it flashed me all the way back to He-Man and She-Ra. I have the power. That's what He-Man and She-Ra would say. But today, let's take it one step further. You don't have the power. You are the power. Taste that. You don't have it. It is nothing to possess. It is nothing to possess. It is nothing to own, but it is simply a thing to be. You can mold and shape your life. It doesn't matter what you are dealing with. Why? Because every situation is a mental projection. And to deal with a mental projection, you must go to the mental. Where? The mind. The mental attitude. The mood. The mindset. That is where you must go. Because that is where the battle is happening, not anywhere else. Oh, we like to think it's happening outside of us. But the battle is happening within. There's a slight tug of war between two things: who you say you are and who you want to become. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Will you allow your situation to bring you to your knees? You see, withdrawal from anything, if you go into withdrawal with the mental attitude that says, I have to go through this because this is part of polarity. I have told myself that I no longer am reliant upon these external things. And I know as I go through this stage of withdrawal, I know what is on the other side. So when the sweats, when the pain, when all of that hits you for withdrawal, it is your mental attitude that will see you through and fortify you, that reduces how painful it is. Because you're not fighting the withdrawal now. You are allowing it to happen because you know it is a process. If you are planting the seed of health, then obviously the body naturally has to detox itself. And it will. But as long as you know that that is its job, it's going to detox itself because you are telling it to detox. How did you tell it to detox? By deciding that you no longer want it to be prisoner. So you have the power to overcome any situation. Not because I say so, but because your decision, your choice. You cannot expect that you're going to say, I'm giving up this thing, and then your body says, okay. And you want to fight it? Don't. You do not resist the change because that comes from fearing it. You cannot fear the change that you are implementing because you know the outcome. The outcome of detox is sobriety. Is that not what you want? Well then, allow sobriety. Walk with the mental attitude of sobriety, and the stages will unfold, but you will not be crushed beneath them because you know what is happening, and you also understand why it is happening, and you also know the outcome. Why? Because you yourself are the power, and you must be willing to give up your present limitations. Simply dare to assume that you are what you want to be. And how do you do that? Well, you acknowledge where you are. That is step one. Acknowledge where you are. Don't hate where you are. Acknowledge it. You cannot hate where you are, because now you're walking in with a bosom full of hate. That's not what you want. Acknowledge where you are. After all, it was our choices that put us there. No shame in that. But there's understanding. So once you've acknowledged where you are at present, then step two naturally happens. If you say, I don't want to be at step one anymore, I don't want to be at that thing anymore, well, then step two will ask you, what do you want to become? And then you begin to experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. How would sobriety behave? Well, then you begin to act that out in your mind's eye. You rehearse it in your mind's eye. You imagine what you would be doing if you were sober. Why? Because now you're controlling the imagination and fixing the attention on the outcome. And all the while that you are doing that, mentally, physically, your brain is rewiring itself for sobriety. Because part of that show that I was watching, they had this Alcoholics Anonymous. And you notice how they introduced themselves? Hi, my name is, and I am an alcoholic. You're what? What are you? How do you expect sobriety when you say I am an alcoholic? Hello, wait, just taste that. Don't come from me. Taste it before you judge what I say. Whatever you declare yourself to be with those two words, I am, it is what you will be. That's why the struggle is so hard. Because you keep saying, I am an whatever. You must dare to give up your present limitations. Oh, I'm sure I'm going to hear about this later. How dare you, Angela? You've never had to struggle against addiction. My. Is that because you only think that addiction happens to be physical? It is not just physical, my friends. When I say physical, I mean it's not just drugs, it's not just sex, it's not just alcohol. There are many others. So what I am encouraging you to do today is to realize that you yourself are the power. And you must be willing to give up your present limitations. I can't. I'm not strong enough. What? What? You have to give that up. Why do you want to give that up? Because one cannot serve two masters. You cannot say, I want to become this, all the while holding on to what you presently are. But then, Angela, how do I let go? One lets go by embracing the new. Naturally, you will have to stop doing the thing that you're presently doing in order to do the new thing. So use your controlled imagination and your fixed attention to do what? Do the new. And the old will do what? Wither and die for want of attention. Just like an unwatered houseplant. So that is how one lets go. Anyway, I think you grasp what I'm saying to you today. I'm well over my time, but you know how we get up in here some days. Who's here with us today? Joachim. Well, Joachim is all the way in Germany. Ow. Why? Because we are worldwide, people. The better man is here as well. And I want to venture a guess and say my sweet Liza is here as well in these YouTube streets. I know. Yes, the better man. We had snow this weekend. And I decided I was going to try something new. I picked those apples. I picked a couple of them to start a new batch of an apple bug. Because when you're making wine, the time that you harvest a particular grape, you make an ice wine, if memory serves me correctly, by harvesting the grapes that are in the cold. Well, yeah, it's quite interesting. So I thought, these have been kissed by the snow. So let me pick these ones and see how this new batch will turn out. Well, nothing beats a failure but a try, is what Daddy always says. See, that's who's here. Angela Appleseed. The better man, you crack me up. You just do. Yes, Joachim, control your mood. But remember, not through force, by attention. This is how you quote unquote control. See, because every time we hear that word control, sometimes we lose ourselves and we think, oh my God. No, not control as an iron fist or tyrant. Control with the knowing that where you put your attention is the fruit that you will bear. Yes? Indeed, I say so. Not because it's magical. Go outside. This is harvest time right now, depending on where you are. Why is it harvest time? Because way back in the spring, it was seeding time. And you will always know what that farmer planted based on what? What he brings in out of the field. Hello? You reap what you have sown. It also goes for your mental attitude. Yes? Who else is here? Oh, is that you, Casey? It is. It is my sweet Casey in these Twitter streets. Hey, girl. It is so good to see you. I would recognize that smile anywhere. Oh, yes, I would. Yes, it is so beautiful to see you in these Twitter streets. Yes, my dearest. Now, who's on fan base? Big Mike and my sweet Miss McQueen. You guys are here on fan base with me this morning. Yes, Joachim, the flow causes those actions to come right out of you naturally. Liza. Yes, the apples are a godsend, and they're so tasty. They are so sweet and crisp all at the same time. I can hardly wait to make apple jelly. See, apple butter is thick and just, You can put it on your toast. Oh, yes, I got to tell Grams I did make it. I did make 2 batches now. So I have 9 bottles of apple butter. But apple jelly is clear because you got to peel the apples and dose them with lemon to keep them from oxidizing. Oh, yeah. And a lesson in patience, my friends, because you have to, when you puree them, you have to strain them. You can't squeeze it. All you want, it takes hours for all that juice to just drip right out. But that is what you want. You want that juice to drip out slowly. Why? Because it's going to be clear. But if you squeeze anything through that cheesecloth, you're going to put a residue in there and make it cloudy. You don't want that. Oh no. So I have to exercise great patience when I make the jelly. Oh yes, indeed. But now I figured out a way to make guava. I have frozen guava. I tell you, everything is law, everything is principle, cause and effect. You just have to know if you're going to make jelly, jelly has characteristics. You're going to make jam, jam has characteristics. So you can't be out here in these streets talking about I am ... and don't expect to have the characteristics of them. Okay, you get it now. Anyhow, I am way over time. Oh, Miss Liza, they are delicious. Oh, they are. I made those little tarts, and my son, let's just say there's only one left, and he says, Ma, we still have more apples. Are you going to make more? And I said, yes, son, I shall make some more. So, remember, my beautiful friends, as we go through the day today, realize that you yourself are the power, and you must be willing to give up your present limitations. Simply dare. What now? Simply dare to assume that you are what you want to be. Summer Rose, I see you. Yes, Joachim. Once you pay attention to that mood and you see what that mood is, then you will see why your brain is behaving the way it is. There's nothing wrong with the brain. All brains function the same. Well, they have all the parts. Cerebellum, corpus callosum, hippocampus, left and right hemispheres. They all function the same way, unless, of course, part of the brain has been removed or damaged by trauma. I'm talking physical, blunt force trauma. Somebody hit you in the head, dropped you on the head, you know, interfered with your brain development in utero. But all brains are the same. So they're going to function the same. You just have to learn what the characteristics of a brain are. It is a tool that we have, like the heart, the lungs. We know what the lungs are for. We know what the liver and kidneys are for. We know what the spleen is for. Well, now you get to know what the brain is for and how to program it. You are the power to program your brain. Anyhow, don't let me keep you. I do love you. I truly do. And, yeah. I do love you. Right? I do. And no, your cards are not going to come by United States Postal Service, because I can't use that. I have to courier them, because our Canada Post is on strike. So I can't use that. I have to courier. Anyway, I do love you. Watching your emails for your tracking numbers so you can track your cards. And for YouTube, I haven't mentioned it, but I do have members on YouTube. They pay a monthly subscription. It's as low as what, $1.99 a month? Consider that if you'd like. Just simple ways to support the channel. Because I would like to move away from commercials, because I don't like commercials. I really don't. But they pay. So, anywho, let us go forth today and remember that you don't have power. You are power. There's a difference. Meditate on that and you'll see the difference between having and being. You can have or you could have not. That's why you can feel weak and helpless. Same way you can feel powerful. It is your state of being, your mental attitude. That's why you don't have power. You are the power. I am is what tells you you're the power. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you, and I'll see you tomorrow on our another double shift day. Yes. Right here on YouTube, Facebook, Fanbase, and Twitter. 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you know that I love you.